Welcome back in episode 97. So, in last week's video, you saw me tackling the exhaust. And just sort of kind of to recap, last week was episode 96, part 1 of the exhaust. A job that I didn't really need to take on. I just fancied doing it and it looked like it'd be fun. So I stripped off the old exhaust system, original I think, so 43, 44 years old. That's laying on the floor there, and I started to construct the new one. As you can imagine, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm feeling my way, trying to work it out, talking to lots of different people, taking advice. And last week we built those downpipes and into the first silencer. This week I want to just keep pushing on. The videos are slowing down because it's quite hard going, and I'm waiting for parts and trying to get things, make sure I don't go the wrong route. But we'll get there. I'm confident we'll get there. And it involves welding, which I really enjoy doing. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy doing it. Anyway, let's just dive into this week, see how I get on. Please remember, click the subscribe button, click the like button, leave me some comments, help direct me what I should be doing. And if you're enjoying these videos, go back and watch some of the other ones. There's 96 of them back there now. One of them must be fun. Anyway, let's just get in there and see how I get on this week. Right, some more exhaust goodies arrived today. But just to recap, I've now got the front box. So there's a nice X-pipe silencer there, or I think it's called a resonator really. And then I've put each of these made up with a 45 degree, 245s, twisted and bent around a little bit. And then with the flange on top, that fits really neatly onto the manifolds. So this is good. This is constructed, made. I've now seam weld all the way around. I've gone back because one of you pointed out that you thought you saw some gaps in the welds, all resolved. That's looking good, looking strong, very happy. I'll show you what I've got next. So if you recall, I was debating whether I should do a single or a twin system, and I can't help myself but do the twin system because I think it's going to be better. That's created a few problems because what I'm doing is pulling 2.25 inch pipes down under the car, as opposed to one 2.5 inch pipe, which fit really neatly. So those two pipes come down into the silencer that I just showed you, and then they're going to run in parallel underneath the middle of the car up to the gearbox. And now on my early 79 car, where it was a single pipe, that used to sort of then come around the gearbox into the middle silencer, and then back a little bit to roughly underneath this piece here, where the big, I forget what the name is, but this big drum silencer and two pipes come out the back of that, out the back of the car. Now, me doing twin pipes has caused the problem that I can't actually fit the pipes all the way around that route. So what I'm going to do is come down through that first silencer down, and then I'm going to break out left and right either side of the gearbox. Now there's a recess there where the original middle silencer goes. I'm going to do that on one of the pipes, and on the other side, which is just before the fuel tank, I'm going to put another silencer there, and then run the pipe across the gearbox, as it turns out, and then they come out the back of the car. So what arrived today is these two, which should be 2.25 inch offset silencers, which they are. So like that. So two of these, they fit. That one fits where the original one went, and this one fits where just in front of the fuel tank. I know I need to worry about the fuel tank. I'm going to heat shield it, put some heat protective wrap around it as well, and just sort of make sure it's okay. Really keen to get these on and see what that sounds like. As it stands, I've got enough pipes, I've ordered enough and got enough pipes to create the exhaust all the way back to just before poking out the back of the car here. I'm waiting just to make sure it all lines up and work out if I need to buy any more straight pipes, or whether the ends of the pipes that I've got will come and just with tips they'll poke out correctly. I don't want to over order stuff, so we're waiting for that. But let's try these on the car and see if they fit in the space first, then we'll worry about getting the pipes around. Right, I'm doing a lot of sort of pre-fitting. This is the additional silencer that I plan to put over on this side, and I'm just trying to work out how high up I can get it. Obviously it's sitting on a paint tin and some bits of wood. I need it to tuck up there. Now I'm fully aware there's a fuel pipe comes in about here, which I'm going to look to reroute. I should be able to pull it much further over this side out of the way, and build a heat shield to put in there as well. Now, I don't know if that's high enough up yet to achieve ground clearance. I'm just sitting here on the floor looking at it. What I would like to do is be able to get it up another, I don't know, could probably come up another inch or so. And I think that would be out of the way. What I'm going to do, I've got two of these, of course, one to go there, one go on the other side. Just sort of tucked in this recess. That's where the original one was, so that gap there is a little bit bigger, and there aren't pipes that I need to avoid there. This side there are. I'm going to quickly check online and see if they do a slightly slimmer version. I think that's a 4-inch. If they did a 3-inch, I think it'd be worth me sending this one back and swapping them over. But that's where I'm up to. Then, and after this, if I can just pick it up, there's I've got a number of these 45-degree bends that, if I get it around the right way, these all just sort of slot together and come along. This comes under the gearbox. The next one fits in, let's get it around the right way. One goes in there like that. Another one goes in like that as well, I think. And then the last one bends around and it comes up on an angle like that, and that shoots off towards where the exhaust should come out. So it's all looking okay. I'm just trying to resolve and sort of take my time on this box to make sure that I'm not doing anything really bad or a fire hazard. But we'll get there, we'll solve it. I think as it stands, that's probably a fraction too low though, so I need to resolve that. This is it filmed from around the other side. If I pull you out, you can see, you know, it's just hanging down a bit more than I would probably like. Trying to keep you up high so you can gauge. It's higher than the bottom of the suspension here, but it is it's definitely lower than the floor. Not a great deal though, not a massive amount in it. We're probably, if I could gain a centimetre, we're probably okay. But that's where it's sitting. You can see the exit or the inlet here. Again, with the 45, that cuts across here, and then another 45, and it goes straight up into the centre tunnel, which then obviously goes all the way up to the front of the car. It's funny how you can do the entire exhaust with 45-degree bends. Right, I've been round and round trying to get those two silencers up underneath the car. Obviously, one side's fine; it fits within this. Oh, I don't mind, pick it up. This heat shield, no problem. I haven't actually tried to see if it fits in there, but it should do without any major problems. On the other side, my car obviously didn't have a silencer in there. And the main problem I've got is that the fuel line runs straight across where I want to put the silencer. So I've been faffing around for the last couple of days, umming and ahhing, reading up how close can I put a silencer to a fuel line, how close can I put a silencer to the bottom of the car, and all things like that. I think what I need to do is just bite the bullet and reroute that fuel line. So it's a fuel line that I made. There's a join there. It turns from a hard pipe, so a metal pipe, into a rubber pipe. Pretty much exactly where this silencer is. So what I'm proposing to do then is to undo that. I need to drain the fuel tank. I've got probably, I think these take 80 odd litres, this fuel tank, and it's about 3/4 full, so probably 60 litres of petrol in there. Call it 50 with a bit of evaporation. It does smell petrol in here. I've only got a 20-litre tank there. I've got the 911 here that I could decant fuel into, and luckily the fuel filler's this side, so I could move fuel from this tank into that tank. That's a really good idea, in fact. I need to check how much fuel is in that car. So get the fuel drain down, take the fuel pipes off, and then I think I'm going to bend the hard line to come around closer to the wheel arch here. At the moment, say it just comes straight down the middle of the car, pretty much. And then I'll replace the flexible line. I can put a lot longer pipe in that comes all the way round and avoids this silencer altogether. That should work fine. Then I need to look at how high I can get this silencer up, tuck it up out of the way. These are 4-inch silencers, so they're about that deep under the car. 4 inches, so it's about there. The original silencer wasn't that shape. It was more of a, it was fat and thin, sort of, you know, you can see, maybe you can see the shape of this box. It's quite hard to see, but it's thicker at the bottom and thin at the top. And the silencer was the same sort of shape. So I need to just check that putting those silencers in is okay, and it gives me enough ground clearance. It should be alright. To be honest, I don't really care. I'm not going to be speed humping, so to speak. I don't intend to sort of be hammering over speed humps. As long as I've got a good sort of 10 centimetres, I'm fairly happy. I think the height of a UK speed hump is 10 centimetres. It's right by the rear axle anyway, which means that goes up and down at the same time as the speed hump, so it should be fine. But that's something on my mind as well. Today's battle, I'm going to try to rethread the, this is the return on the fuel line. I had a look at it, and actually my return pipe here goes down, sort of around, up, over some suspension, and then shoots out about that direction across the place where I want to put that silencer. So I'm going to try and disconnect it here, thread it back down, and then we're going to bend the fuel return pipe, the actual metal that comes along, comes up like that, and mine at the moment, I'm going to bend it right, come round this side, and then up here, which should keep it out of harm's way. I'm hoping I can do it actually without replacing this pipe, because I've got a tube, got so much of it sort of threaded through the suspension. So let's just take this one off first, and I'll film from the underneath. You can see how I do it. Right, back underneath the car then. So there's that fuel line that I want to move. It goes up there, is this line here. And then it kind of disappears up there somewhere, then comes across. And it's hard to see, but it's that one there. So it's come all the way through, round the rear suspension. And then it's that pipe there. So let's pull it out now. It should, I don't know if you can see, I can't see, so, there we are, right. So it should just come out. Here we are, right. And it's got petrol in, good point. I actually thought that would be empty by now. Okay, so I need to drain that. But what we'll do, we'll thread it. If I can try and get some distance, we can have a look. I can pull it out there, thread it back round this rear suspension cross member thing to here. If I can get it there, I'm hoping I can pull it around this side and then go up there, and it's almost directly back into where I need to go, which is just here. It should be a shorter route, so I won't actually need any more hose. I've sort of dropped the pipe down now. You can see it's slightly hanging from under the car. I'm going to pop you over here, somewhere like, say, that. And you can watch while I try. What I'm trying to do is bend it. I want to bend it about here and bring it across. And I don't mind if, and I'd rather it comes through this little gap here with the, this is the flow out towards the engine, and this is the return. Forget what you call that correctly. So what I want to try and do is put a bend in. Now it's a little bit awkward. All that's left to do now then is to feed the pipe back up here, and I'm trying to use a bit of brake pipe to, it's quite a difficult route, so I'm pushing it down, putting the fuel pipe onto the brake pipe and then pulling it back up. It's putting up a bit of a fight, but I'll persist with that and we'll get that done hopefully in the next sort of 10-20 minutes, and then we can get back to looking at the heat shields. Okay, so that's back on there. It took about 10 minutes. It wasn't that bad actually. I was crying over nothing. So that's back on, and underneath now, we zip under here. You can see now that the pipe work, if I can actually point, it comes around this area. It's this pipe here actually, comes around. So this area here now is clear for the silencer. I want to look at these, there's some, the gearbox oil sort of wanders off in that direction. I'm going to just see if I can pull that clear a little bit. If not, it'll be heat shielded anyway. But that's looking much better, much clearer for this silencer to fit into. Fairly slow progress at the moment while I wait for parts to arrive for the exhaust. The one thing I realised, obviously, somewhere along the line, was that I'm going to need another heat shield. So this is a heat shield off of a S4 on the driver's side underneath there. Mike obviously didn't have one. It didn't quite fit, so I've sliced a piece off here, and there was a recess here, so I bolted it in there. Now that supplies a shield, or provides a shield for the fuel pipe that will be running around behind there, so that's really useful. That's waiting to get sprayed up. And then I've got the stainless steel, I I don't know what you call them, brackets I guess. I'm going to use these, bend them appropriately, to suspend that from under the car. Because there aren't any brackets to hang that on. The other side has them, but this doesn't. And in the post today arrived the flanges. Now these are the things I've been waiting for nearly 2 weeks. They're the flanges that are going to go on the back of that first silencer and allow me to come sort of straight underneath the car towards the back where it splits and goes out, well, through this heat shield. Right, finally the exhaust parts have arrived. What I'm going to do then is get underneath the car, put that first box with those downpipes back on the car, offer this up, try and work out the lengths I need to cut. I need 2 of these, of course, to come underneath the car. Once I've got them cut, I can hold them and see what angle I need them, because I won't be able to put them parallel because they'll clash with the heat shield and the sort of the recess that the single pipe used to fit in. So I'm going to have to pull them in on sort of an angle. Work out what to do there, then that will tell me what angle I need to weld the flanges onto the bottom of that first silencer, and slowly start building that exhaust back. Should be plain sailing from now. I've also got to attach the heat shields, work out how to fit those back up underneath the car. Got to make some new brackets for that. Lots to do, loads of work ahead of me, but at least I can crack on with it now. So let's get that first silencer on and see where we go. Right, I've got that first silencer on here, and now what we're doing is I've got the long straight piece sort of held up with one bend here, so I can make sure that it's the right length for that bend to come around the gearbox. And I'm just going to lift this pipe up and basically mark. I've got a bit of tape to do the marking. Mark on the pipe where I need to cut, and then 2 flanges will be welded, one onto this bit, one onto there, and that'll bolt up. But I need to make sure it's the right length, which is what I'm going to do now, which is too difficult to film. So I'm just going to get on and do that, and I'll show you what I've got. Right, as if by magic, the length I need is exactly half of this length. So I'm just going to cut it in half, and then that'll do both sides. Let's buzz that through now then. Right, so let's slide them in under the car and see how they go. So I don't want them like that. It's going to be more like that, coming in tighter at this top end here. But let's get them under the car and see. Right, so I've had the pipes underneath the car again. What I need is to bring them in slightly, but my front box isn't exactly central underneath the car. So it's only one side that I need to be a little bit on an angle. So what I'm going to do then, I'm going to take this pipe, I'm going to grind it, it's already a bit of an angle already, and basically weld the flange on at a slight angle. That means when I bolt it on, it will give me that little kink that I need to come through that the tighter sort of recess just before the gearbox. So what I'm going to do then is, I may actually not even need to grind it, because I can put the flange on wonky or straight, and if I just give that a little wonk, that's probably enough. What I do need to do though is get that front box off again, weld these flanges on straight to it, so I'm building up all on the bench bit by bit to make sure I don't go wrong. Okay, I think the camera got bored and turned off. I've tacked that one on. I wasn't happy, so I took it off and I've just sort of straightened up to make sure it's covering the hole correctly. Now this side, we'll do the same. This is now slightly off the upright, so I'll put the other one the same so at least it matches. And I think what I've done here, it's difficult to get it exactly correct. I think I'm going to just tack it on with one, and then we'll have a look and see how that looks. Nothing about there. It's just a little tiny weld. Okay, I've mounted the exhaust back on with the flanges that have been spot welded on one side, and I've just put one bolt to hold the flanges in this side. What the game is now, if I can slide under enough, is to attach these pipes. Just change where my wire is hanging from. I'm going to suspend the pipes down and try to work out the correct height, and then I'll come under and just tack them onto the flanges so I know they're right. I can't be up too high either because it will start to foul with everything else. I think that's about right there. So first weld, eyes shut, eyes open, looking good. And I'll plop one on the other side, about here. I hope you can see with my head in the way. So we'll pop one in about there. Right, that's that one. A little bit of carpet burn, never hurt anyone. So this one is the more awkward one because it needs to be at a slight angle, just coming in a bit like that. Now that looks pretty, what's burning under here? That looks pretty good to me from where I am. And it's coming back more central. I think that is spot on, I would say. So I'm going to plop one in there. And same, just one on the other side. Do a little bit more actually. It feels a bit, didn't feel very tight. Okay, so nothing's burning. A little bit of carpet. Okay, that's looking good. They're going to come down nicely and then we'll flow around. Then I'll take them off and I'll weld them on the bench. Right, back on the bench. I'm just looking at whether I should clean this up a little bit. Obviously a bit of a splattery weld there. I'm ultimately just going to run some weld around these, just get those flanges on. And then we're getting back on the car. Now important here is that I'm obviously building the system, technically I'm building it in 3 parts. We've got the front part that's on the car, and then we've got the 2 parts, the left and the right, that go back from that front box. And I'm going to keep them separate. I was debating about sort of connecting them up, but there's no need. And it's a bit easier, I think, to build them separately. But it means they're both going to hang on the same hanger. So down here, this hanger is going to be under the car. I'll pull it back a bit so you can see it. And each one is going to hang on it separately. And I need to get that working, after I've done these flanges, get this part built so that the front manifolds aren't taking the weight of all this exhaust. That's pretty key actually, so that'll be coming up really soon. But for now, we're just going to weld these up. I've marked them. This is marked as passenger side and the 2 tops so I don't get them upside down. And we'll splat some welds around there now. Hopefully this will go cleanly. Right. Let's have a look at what we've done there then. Whew. That's certainly hot. So a couple of quite nice long runs I managed to do. A little bit splattery around this side where it was coming across the spot welds that I'd put in. Pretty decent though, I think I'd call that. And penetration wise, hopefully that's going to refocus. I think that is perfect where it's just coming through. I do hope that kind of is working. Hopefully you can see that. So that's good. I'm going to clean the welds up. There's a little bit there that I want to just cover again around this side where there was spot welds, but I'll clean it up before I go doing that. So now onto the other side. That's relatively smooth. It's possibly spitting a little bit less as well at the moment, which is good. All good news to me. That's okay as well, I think. Hopefully you can see that. It needs cleaning up, which I'll quickly do now. But that would be the 2 pipes. So they go that way round, like that. Then we're going to be welding the 45s on the end, which will come in something like, one goes in like that and the other one goes in like that. And that's splitting either side of the gearbox. And somewhere around here I'll be putting this rubber thingy like that. But first I'll mount these pipes back on. I probably need to tack these on, and then I can talk about getting this in and supporting the exhaust separate to the front. Right, there's those two sort of straight pipes on. I'm struggling stupidly. I guess you were probably telling me it's hard to do that top bolt up. So the far one I've not managed to do it properly yet, but that will lift up fractionally when I do, and they line up pretty good. Now it's to start talking about these 45s. The exhaust hanger's exactly there, which would be above these 45s. So I need to get one 45 on first, and then I can work out how to attach it and what I need to weld up. Well, it's taken most of the morning, but I've finally got that S4 heat shield on. A little bit of a cut and shut job, as I think I mentioned earlier. I've had to cut one piece off the back and stick it on the front, which sort of made sense, just to get it to fit, and new brackets up there to hold it on. So that's a good move, and I've got the two, I don't know if they're visible, the two pipes there, waiting to have the next bit welded on. I'm just now working out the angles I need to do to come around this section, sort of to come in from the pipes. 45, 45, it's just not lining up quite right yet, but I need to work on that. Right, I'm going to leave it there for the moment. What I need to do is work out how to get around from those straight pipes, round that new heat shield and into the first silencer. And I was hoping it was going to be a 45 and a 45, like that, but it's not quite that angle. Firstly, I need a little gap between the two, so I'm going to have to weld something in there. And the angle is, I'm just trying to remember, I think it needs to be more like that. It's not, it's more than 45, more like 50, 55. So I'm going to have to work out what to do with that, which means I need to think and try and suss out how to do it. So end of video time. As ever, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. I'll wrap up in the next video. I should be able to do most of the exhaust. Certainly get those two middle silencers on so we can run the car again. I'm then going to take a decision on the back part, the very last part. Either we'll have two straight pipes come out with tips on, or I may squeeze one more silencer in if it's a bit too noisy. But I'll do the decibel meter again and we'll see what the volume is, and I'll take it out and we'll try and work out whether I need it. But anyway, as ever, thanks for watching. Click subscribe, click like, leave me some comments, and I'll see you next time.